If you want to save yourself thousands of dollars when using your VA loan, I suggest you watch this video right now, because I'm going to share with you the top 5 mistakes that veterans and service members make when using their VA loan. What's going on, motivators? My name is Justin Chermak. I'm your VA loan advisor, and all I do is teach you all about using your VA loan. And I'm licensed from New York to Cali to do your VA loan for you. So if you want the full sit rep on what goes on behind the scenes with a VA loan, subscribe to my page. So let's jump right into it. The top 5 mistakes that veterans and service members make when using their VA loan. Number 1, not checking your credit, and not checking your credit early. Now, here's the thing. I'll get a lot of veterans out there who all of a sudden they got a PCS because they're changing duty stations, or they're retiring, so they got to get a house right away, or maybe they've already gotten out like 10 years ago and their lease is expiring, so they just got to get into something quick. So they'll go through my application, I'll pull their credit, boom, we've got a problem. Well, did you know that sometimes it can take up to 6 months to dispute and repair someone's credit successfully? Now, don't you think it would be a good idea to do that 6 months before you need to move rather than on the day of? Yes, this is 100% recommended. If you're thinking about buying a house within the next 12 months, you should be starting right now, because you're going to need that 12-month head start. Just like how we have 15 minutes prior you show up to formation, it's the same concept. Run your credit early. I can run it for you, and I can tell you everything you need to know to make sure that you don't fall into a big hole and a big trap that you can't dig your way out of. Now, mistake number 2 is not getting your COE right away. Now, a COE is a certificate of eligibility, and it's basically the VA's way of telling you that you are VA eligible. Now, in most cases, I can pull your COE up right away. I could literally pull it in like 30 seconds by just getting a couple details about yourself, and I can do that for you anytime. You can reach out to me. But in some cases, now, especially for my reservists or people who just recently separated from service, you're going to have a little bit more of a tough time getting your COE, and you might have to get some more documentation from the branch that you were assigned to. So for instance, if you were a Marine like myself, raw crayon eater, if you were a Marine like myself, you might have to go to headquarters of the Marine Corps down in Quantico, Virginia. Now, they don't work very fast. I work with them all the time to get guys' statements of service, their career retirement credit report, or their point statement, their honorable discharge certs. Sometimes it can take them weeks or even months to get that paperwork over. And I need that paperwork sometimes in order to get someone's COE. Now, I'll share with you a horror story and a feel-good story. Horror story, one time there was a Marine, didn't know that this is what I did, and he was going to get his VA home loan through another lender. Well, he never got his COE. The lender said, it's just an oversight. We'll get to it when we get to it. He actually wasn't able to close in time. I wasn't even able to get his COE for him on time before his closing. And I was doing it pro bono. I was doing it just because this was my boy. This was another vet I was trying to help out. He ended up losing his $2,000 down payment because he didn't have his COE. Now, a feel-good story is same scenario. Guy had about 3 weeks before he closed. Luckily, I was able to get his COE for him because that other lender had no idea how to do it. I actually had to call. I know the person directly responsible for his honorable discharge cert. I had to make a call, and within 48 hours, I was able to do for him what the other lender wasn't able to do in 6 weeks. So make sure you run your credit and get your COE. But item number 3 should be able to take care of both of those things in the same swipe. So with mistake number 3 is not getting pre-approved. Now, it seems so commonplace and common sense that you would go get a pre-approval right away, but it's not always the case. So this is the thing. You need to get a pre-approval, and not just any pre-approval, but a pre-approval from a VA bona fide lender. Someone like myself who does this every single day, not some cherry boot headset lender jockey who works for, I don't know, Veterans United or Navy Fed, who's getting paid minimum wage and doesn't really care about your file, doesn't know what they're doing. Maybe they're a new hire or something like that. You need to go with someone who is a bona fide veteran mortgage advisor. Now, there's about 450 in the nation. I'm licensed in a ton of states to help you out. If I'm not licensed in the state where you are, I can refer you out to one of these other VMAers who go through this rigorous certification process, and we can get for you everything you need done properly the right way. But the bottom line is, if you don't get a pre-approval, well, you're not going to know what kind of bargaining power you're going to have. You're not even going to know how much the house costs. So you're not going to know how much the closing costs are. You're not going to know how much the mortgage payment is. You're not even going to know if you can actually afford it. And a seller is going to see that. They're going to see that you're putting down a VA loan. They're not going to know that you're a bona fide buyer. And that's a major key for getting your offer accepted. If you want that dream home, you got to get pre-approved. Now, mistake number 4, and I cover this in a bunch of my videos, is underestimating closing costs. Let me be very, very real with you right now. Closing costs are atrocious. They're probably going to make you vomit as soon as you take a look at that loan estimate and you see how much it costs. Not all of that comes from the lender. Actually, a very small percentage of it comes from the lender. A lot of it comes from property taxes, from recording fees, all of the title fees, all of these rigorous things that you have to kind of go through. And it can really vary depending upon whether you're closing in Pennsylvania, or you're closing in Los Angeles, California, or New York, or Virginia, or you're closing in like Lejeune or San Antonio. This number can vary, and it can vary significantly depending upon the amount of the house you're buying as well. Now, typically people will say anywhere from 2 to 6% of the total cost of the property, but I want you to just keep this in mind. If you're buying in a more urban area like New York or California, seeing closing costs of $20,000 to $30,000 is a very, very real possibility. Now, if you're lucky enough to live in Pennsylvania or North Carolina or Texas, your closing costs are going to be a lot less. They'll probably be under $10,000, especially if you're buying a $500,000 house or less. But I want you to not underestimate your closing costs, because although you have to put 0% down to get into the home, you still have to pay your closing costs. Unless, of course, you get a seller's concession, which I cover in another one of my videos. Even more reason for you to subscribe to my page right now so you can check out that video on seller's concessions that I do have. But that's not what this video is about. Let's get on to the last, final, top 5 mistake that everyone makes, and that is choosing the wrong lender. Now, it's one of 2 things that you can choose that will hurt you. Number 1, you choose a lender who markets towards us. They spend a ton of money advertising for football games or on local bases. They might even have the name of a branch in there, or, it's called Veterans United or Navy Federal Credit Union or USAA, all of these great companies which do so much for us, right? They're there for us. I don't think so. Listen, if they're marketed or catered toward us, there's no difference between them and that used car salesman selling us a 29.99% interest rate outside the lot of Lejeune. Let's be real here, okay? If you're using some of these companies, you got to be really careful, because a lot of them are leaving a lot of money on the table for you. They're making tremendous amounts of commissions off of you, and you're not getting the best deal possible if you're using some of these companies. So at all times, make sure if you're watching this video and you want a second opinion, you can always reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to give you a quote and tell you if you're getting shafted by one of these big old companies. But number 2, the reason why you choose a loan lender, maybe you were referred to someone by your real estate agent, and maybe this is a really good loan officer that your real estate agent knows, likes, and trusts. But guess what? They only do 1 transaction per year in VA, because the average loan officer or the average real estate agent will only see 1 VA transaction per year. And if that's the case, then you have someone who's only doing this once a year rather than every day, like myself, and they have to relearn everything every year that they go and they try to figure it out. So guess what? That's putting you in a bad position, because on average, about 80% of real estate transactions will close, and that means 20% won't close. And this is for all transactions, not just VA related. And you don't want to be in that 20%, not when it comes to the house of your dreams. Now, I hope you like those top 5 mistakes. Now, if you found any of the content helpful in this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my page. Let me know that you're out there listening and you appreciate this content. And as always, if you need someone to do your VA loan for you, reach out to me. I'm licensed from New York to Cali to help you out. So wherever you are, I am. Motivator out.